All right, today we are cracking the code on one of the most famous systems in the entire casino, Blackjack basic strategy. We're going to show you how to ditch those gut feelings and start using pure math, turning what feels like a game of chance into a game of serious skill.
So let's just jump right in. We've all been there, right? This is the moment. Your heart's pounding, your gut is screaming one thing, but your brain is trying to figure something else out. For most of us, this is just a total guess. But what if I told you there's a single, mathematically correct answer?
So, how do we find that answer? Well, first, you've got to understand what we're really up against. And that's the casino's built-in advantage, what everyone calls the house edge.
Look, when you play based on a hunch or that feeling like, oh, I'm due for a win, you're playing the game exactly how the casino wants you to play. And let me tell you, over the long run, that is a losing game.
And the numbers, they really don't lie. Take a look. The average player, the one who's just going with their gut, gives the house about a 2% edge. But look what happens when a player uses basic strategy. That advantage just shrinks dramatically. It goes down to almost nothing. That's right. Just by making the mathematically correct decision every single time, you can slash the house edge to 0.5%. That is one of the best odds you can possibly find in a casino. It puts you on a nearly level playing field with the house.
So you might be asking, how is such a tiny house edge even possible? Well, the answer is something called basic strategy, which is, for all intents and purposes, the game's ultimate mathematically proven cheat sheet.
Now, this isn't some guy's opinion or a hot streak theory. Nope. This is the result of computers running literally millions of hands of blackjack to figure out the one single play that will make you the most money or lose you the least over the long haul, for every single scenario.
And let's be absolutely crystal clear about this. This is not cheating. It's totally legal. In fact, most casinos don't mind it at all. You're not counting cards or anything like that. You're just playing the game with perfect, optimal knowledge. It's like you found the instruction manual that's built right into the math of the game itself. So, how do you actually use this at the table? Well, it all starts with just figuring out what kind of hand you're holding. See, basic strategy breaks every possible hand down into just 3 simple categories. First up, you've got your hard totals. These are basically any hand without an ace. Then you've got soft totals, and that's where an ace gives you some breathing room. And finally, you have pairs. Just knowing which of these 3 buckets your hand falls into is the very first step to making the perfect play. Okay, let's start with hard totals. The easy ones are simple. Always stand on 17 or more, and you pretty much always double down on 11. But now, look at that tricky middle section, 13 to 16. If the dealer is showing a weak card, a 2 through 6, you stand. But if they're showing a strong card, a 7 or higher, you have to hit. So what about that dreaded 16 versus a 10? The math says hit, every time. I know, it feels so wrong, but hitting is your only real chance to win. You have to play to win, not just play to avoid busting.
Now, for soft totals, the ace is kind of like your secret weapon here, because it can be a 1 or an 11. That gives you flexibility. It means you can be way more aggressive. You'll almost always hit on a soft 17 or less. But what's really fascinating is with a soft 18 against the dealer's worst cards, you actually double down to maximize your potential win.
And finally, pairs. If you remember absolutely nothing else, please remember this. You always, always split aces and 8s, and you never ever split 10s or 5s. Think about it. Splitting 10s breaks up a 20, which is a winning hand, and splitting 5s breaks up a great starting hand of 10. These 4 rules, they are non-negotiable.
All right, so now that we know what we're supposed to do, it's just as important to know what not to do. Let's cover the common traps that basic strategy helps you avoid completely. You know, it really all comes down to this. Are you playing with your emotions or are you playing with math? Your gut feeling doesn't understand probability. It has no idea what card is coming next. Basic strategy just ignores all that noise and plays the numbers, plain and simple. Here you go. These are the casino's greatest hits. These are the plays that make them money, day in and day out. Notice how they're the exact opposite of what we just learned? Standing on a 16 against a 10, not splitting aces. But there's one mistake that's so common and so tempting, it deserves its own moment in the spotlight.
Let's talk about insurance. You know, when the dealer shows an ace, they offer you this bet. It feels safe, like you're protecting your hand. You're not. Insurance is a totally separate side bet, and it has a terrible house edge. The math on this is so clear. Over the long run, it is always a losing play. Just say no.
Okay, so we've got the rules. We know the big mistakes to avoid. So how do we actually put all this into action? How do we take it from theory to a real, live table?
This right here, this is the most important mindset shift you can make. You are still going to lose hands playing perfect basic strategy. That's a guarantee. You're going to hit your 16 against the 10 and you're going to bust sometimes. But you're not playing to win this one hand. You're playing to make the decision that gives you the absolute best mathematical chance over thousands of hands.
So to boil it all down, using basic strategy is the single most powerful thing you can do to improve your odds. It's not guesswork, it's just math. Remember those big ones. Always split aces and eights. Never split 10s and 5s. And absolutely positively never take insurance.
Look, the strategy itself is just a chart. The rules are simple. The real challenge isn't learning them. It's having the discipline to actually follow them, especially when your gut is screaming at you to stand on that 16 against a dealer's 10. The math is simple. Yeah. The real question is, can you trust it more than you trust your own instincts?